Not bad, eh? Not bad at all. I used to come down here actually and do like these little circuit efforts just on that corner. It's actually a cool corner to practice. If anyone's in Sydney and wants to practice an off-camber corner, it's quite good at it. If you're doing start to get into crits, I'm just at I should explain where I am. I'm at Lady Macquarie Chair. And yeah, it's a cool little corner, this one. But yesterday was, it was the first time I've ridden on Christmas Day. It was really lovely being out, seeing the people, etc., saying hello. We were woken before 5, and I'll be honest with you guys, I was grumpy. I hate to admit it. It was Christmas morning, and I was a big sook. All right? Not pretty. And Elizabeth saw this and knew this, and was like, well, go for a bike ride, Chris. But it's funny because like a lot of the time you hear this thing of, I gotta leave pass and I gotta snuck out, blah, blah. Which I don't really like that chat a lot of the time because a relationship's like a two-way street. It's not like teacher and student. Sometimes I find that chat's a little bit disrespectful to the person who's quote unquote allowing the ride. Yeah, that was partly due to some of the comments about me making about Jay saying, he's got a great support structure over there. And when I say great support structure, he's got a great wife. Like, that's what it comes down to, Anyway, all right, today we're doing an RCC ride, guys. So I was just saying, I reckon that's the best iteration of the S-Works Venge. What year, Darcy?
This is a 2018, I think.
Oh, it's that new, okay.
2017?
I think it's a 17. Because it's got the same fork that had the sort of rim brake, because the rim brakes were underneath the fork.
Yeah.
I moved that.
Just work on Euro bikes.
Yes, but that's still a light bike.
High sevens?
Yeah, well that'll be, with that power meter on, it's about 7.4, 7.5. It's probably 7.5, but it wouldn't be as aero as that. I think we're going to quickly beat this little bit of rain. I just wanted to say, it's interesting out riding at the moment. Noticed there's far less big groups on the road. A lot of like 3s, 4s, that kind of thing. And to be honest, I actually think that, especially in Sydney, is a way more suitable thing to be doing. Like the big bunch of like 10, 12 on a Sydney metro road. I just kind of think sometimes it's a bit disrespectful to drivers. Look, there's a time and a place for it, but the 3-4, perfect. Speaking of the 3-4, quick shout to the boys at Servo that we ran into. Adrian, shout North Texas if you're watching. Try and get some of the boys over for Tulsa Tough 2022. Give us a shout. All right, let's get home, hey? All right, big shouts. Big shout to Adrian and the boys who we ran into at the Servo 7-Eleven. For those of you who don't live in Sydney, the Servo 7-Eleven is like this classic Sydney bark up at a service station because it's like the ride then back into Sydney. Anyway, they asked me, and this is what I do now, I outsource my ideas for the vlog to other people, and they said, throw us a few tips to get the most out of the Festive 500. So that's what we're gonna do. 3 tips to get the most out of the Festive 500. And the reason I say most and not how to do the Festive 500 is because for a lot of people in the Northern Hemisphere and a lot of people everywhere, just getting 500Ks done is an achievement, a great achievement. So that is not what I'm talking about here. What I'm talking about here is, you're going to have the kilometers in the belt. How can you get the most training benefit out of that? All right? The first tip I have for you is hours, not Ks, okay? For many of us, this is the best opportunity you have to spend time on your bike. So do that, spend time on your bike, not just kilometers on your bike. So by that I mean set yourself an hour's goal rather than a K's goal. Maybe a good way to start would be have a look at what you normally do every week, 10 hours, try and do 20, okay? That could be your goal for the Festive 500 is have a crack at hours, not Ks, because it opens up a few more different routes you can do. You know, you're not too sort of counting the K type thing. Go for hours. It's just physiologically a much better way of thinking about it. My second tip is to avoid the big bunch rides. Now do 1 or 2 of them, that's fine. But I'm just saying, like, you know, 8, 9, 10 people, that kind of thing. It's essentially junk, guys. Now, it has benefits, but if it's every single ride is that ride, it's not great for you. They're junk Ks, you're kind of just doing the same sort of surgy stuff and then freewheeling for ages and surgy stuff and freewheel for ages. Try to avoid, don't avoid it, but just don't rely on the full bunch ride to get the most out of your Festive 500. And my third tip is to contradict what I just said right there and do some chop-off stuff. So chop-off stuff, for you guys in the UK, I think you call it like a chain gang thing. Incorporate some of that into the Festive 500 rides. Okay, so for example, you're out with 2 or 3, 4 is a great number, 4 other mates, you've got maybe 10, 15 Ks coming up of flat, quiet road. Just turn to your mates and say, let's just chop off for this. And that's the rolling turns type stuff. Again, just changes it up, activates different systems, gets you engaged, it's great skills, and it's fun. It's heaps and heaps of fun. You know, you can just get so used to being two abreast, my turn, we ride for 10Ks, then they ride for 10Ks. This is a great way to change it up. And honestly, it's a really, really good like training thing that I don't think people do enough of. Some of that's just due to the terrain, especially living in big cities and things like that, but have a go at that. But just try and avoid the one thing that always happens with a chop off or a chain gang, is you say, guys, we'll just do a light little chop. Yeah, no probs. 15 seconds later, everyone's on VO2 max and you can't ride anymore. Don't suffer in silence. Don't be ashamed with the guy and just say, he's up. I'm well used to that, right? I've said that many times in my life and I'm not ashamed to admit it. Or even skip some turns, let some people in like that. But they're my 3 tips, guys. Hours, not Ks. Avoid the big bunch rides as the basis of all your Ks. And the third is throw some chops in. Throw some chain gang stuff in, change it up a bit. I'm trying to get some bloody styling tips out of him here.
I just wear black though. I'm really not your man.
Oh, I know. But like in terms of colour palette, are we going to keep running the kind of earthy tones, do you think? Or are we going a bit more pastel-y?
Earthy tones are good.
Yeah,
Stay
all right.
connected, stay grounded.
Mm-hmm.